Actually crazy how it went. Had the sex and whatnot, but he was not using, condoms or nothing like that. And, I was just having fun, kind of just came out of a breakup and, was like going around town, which was so sad. And I'm just gonna hold My Little Pony. So I'm Zia Zebra. If you don't know, I create clothing and I also give tips and tricks in like makeup, cheap thrift shopping, beginner sewer tips, try on hauls, Sims 4, and more. So stay tuned and hit that subscribe button. I'm over here in my room area, whatever, like where my bed is at. But hey babes, what's good? This is actually a freaking story time. I never really had a story time on my page, so yeah. And my nails still kind of like looking ratchet or whatever, but never mind that. Y'all gotta excuse my fat pack. You know how you stand up, but you sit down, it's the fat pack, but whatever. Y'all, okay, so this is my story time. This is my story time about my abortion story, actually when abortion was still legal. It's a scary, dramatic story, but I think I need to like speak on this because so many women should know, and I learned so many lessons from this, matter of fact. So anyways, okay. Starting with my abortion story, when abortion was still legal, this is around like 2020 and whatnot. Okay, I actually met this guy on Snapchat. I really didn't know nothing of him. He added me, we went to talking. This one I, barely got into sewing, 2019 to 2020 and whatnot. And we actually just conversated, back and forth for about 3 weeks or like a month and whatnot. And, he got my number, I got his number. And things kind of moved, really, really, really fast. So, things moved really, really fast. Then from there, I already went to seeing him, which I seen him have sex on the first day, which was crazy, but did. And it was actually crazy how it went. Had the sex and whatnot, but he was not using, condoms or nothing like that. And, I was just having fun, kind of just came out of a breakup and, was like going around town, which was so sad. I learned so many lessons from that. But yeah, actually had sex with him the first day. And then it led to like a week. I just started like having sex with him and whatnot. And he was not using condoms at all, y'all. So I ended up seeing him, going on dates with him and all this type of stuff. And next thing you know, it was this one day where I was just very, very drunk and he was too. We were just having fun. And next thing you know, I just remember, me being out of control because the sex was so good. You know how sometimes you can be like just nutting me or just really saying some off the wall things that I never ever said ever in my life. And the man actually took it seriously and I just couldn't believe it. But, he did what he did that night or whatever when we was drunk. And, I really weren't paying any attention to it. And this is when I actually didn't, pay attention to the plan Bs or, consider any plan B treatment or nothing like that like I do now. But, a couple weeks passed by. And I started noticing, my underwear had the white stuff in it. And it was like a lot of white stuff in it. I can't think of what it's called right now. I don't know why. But it had a lot of that stuff in there. And I started feeling like very weird. And I'm like, did you really just, do what you did? And I just remember him telling me, yeah. And I'm just like, I'm kind of freaking out. So, he suggested to do a pregnancy test, and I did do a pregnancy test, and it turns out that I was actually pregnant, But the first test that we did do was at home, and I really couldn't tell anything with that cheap at-home dollar store, Walmart test, whatever it was at the time. But I did go to Grand Expectations where they do, like, official pregnancy testing at the clinic, and that's when I seen that I was actually pregnant. And actually, speaking of that, his friend, he didn't even have a car. Like, I think he was fresh out of jail. He was like fresh out of jail, y'all. And I'm like, it just, everything happened so fast. So we had went up there. His friend dropped us off, and his friend looking like, what's going on? You know, I come back to the car crying. He like, oh my God, is this for real? I'm like, yes, this is for real. You know, they said I'm positive, and I didn't know how to handle it at the time. It really just hit me like a ton of bricks. So seriously, this is my first time actually being pregnant ever in my life. So I cried in the car all the way back to the, ride back to his place or whatever. And I'm just like, I can't believe this. He was saying how much fun it was going to be and all this type of stuff. And that's when I found out, y'all, he had like 6, 7 other baby mamas. And on top of that, he actually had another girl pregnant while I was pregnant. Him coming fresh out of jail and, really just being hot in the streets. I'm gonna just put it like that. And I didn't like what I was hearing. I was so upset that, I rushed into something and just trying to have fun, trying to forget about a breakup that I went through and all this type of stuff. Because, y'all, before this last dude, him, who I actually caught being pregnant with, it was like 2 more other guys that I messed with that I just like up and left. Up and left seriously. And it was just wild for me at the time. It was just like a wild go for me in the streets. So I really couldn't talk, but I really didn't want to be caught up, y'all. This was crazy, okay? And so I happened to be, pregnant and whatnot, and I'm just like, I don't want to keep this. Like, I'm sorry. And he's just like, you don't want to what? So, yeah. But before this, y'all, I kind of skipped. Y'all, we took dates together. Like, the first date that we had was at the park. Like, I'll never forget it. Like, we was at the park chilling, getting to know each other a little bit. Like, that's when I found out he liked rock music and all this type of stuff. And I like rock music. And, it was just, like, little stuff like that that kind of, like, turned me on and whatnot. But, yeah, we had a couple of more dates before that, before we ended up having sex, actually. But we still had sex on the first day, though. But, yeah, carrying on. So, finding out that I was pregnant, he's saying that this is going to be fun, finding out his baby mamas and all this type of other stuff. I'm like, no, now I'm turned off. So, I'm just like, I got to get rid of this, like, quick, fast, in a hurry. I don't like the way I'm feeling. I don't want to be the 8th baby mom, 7th, 6th, whatever. So, I'm over here looking up stuff to do, y'all. I'm over here looking up how to have a miscarriage and get rid of a baby because I did not want to have anything by this man because I didn't feel any special from the other ladies. Like, it wasn't no marriage, he had another girl pregnant at the time, and it was just highly, highly, highly annoying, and I just didn't like the feeling of it. And so I was also going to take pills before I went through with the abortion. I spoke with my mom about the pills, but I was just like, you know what? I don't actually want to do the pills because I want to get rid of it. I'm talking about I need nothing inside of me at all. So, I decided to go through with the procedure. And before I got the procedure done, it was about 2 months that I was pregnant. 2 months. I lasted 2 months. And I remember going to the clinic and whatnot. They put the stuff on my stomach, and that stuff was pretty cold and whatnot. And, I did mention him actually selling drugs when he got out. He had pills and stuff because I remember he tried to get me to try a pill, and I never was going to try a pill. No, I did smoke with him at the time, and he had like a lot of weed and all this type of stuff. So we were just like rocking and rolling out like hard. And he was like selling pills and doing all this type of, crazy stuff that I already didn't like or agree with, to be honest. But, things happen how they happen. I ended up pregnant. Also, mentioning pills, babes, like, I remember taking a freaking pain pill that my grandmother gave me. And that pain pill, when I took it, I just blacked out immediately after I took that pill. Like, I just fell straight to the floor. Like, it was so scary. I'll never forget it. That's like the only pill that I remember taking, but like no pill or drugs that he had, got going on with him. Also, while I was smoking, I was smoking with him at the beginning, while I was still pregnant. So it was like real easy and light. But as it led on that I was smoking, like me becoming around 2 months, y'all, I was cramping and hurting really, really badly. And then I had to come to a complete stop of non-smoking, okay? You know, I was smoking that bad to where it was kind of hard for me to completely just stop, which I didn't care to have that child no way, so I was still trying to intake and inhale all of the smoke. But at the same time, it was like giving me really, really bad cramps. And I just remember my grandmother telling me to like sit directly on a heating pad, like my bottom on a heating pad, and like the cramps would just, you know, go away, which it really worked, you know, which is wild, you know. So you know, I went to the clinic to go get checkups done to see where I was at. You know, when I went to the clinic, they just like, we don't do abortions down here. So, you know, I had to take and travel myself all the way to Dallas, which I can't remember what the clinic was called and whatnot. But I had went to Dallas, you know, my grams and my, you know, actually my grandparents, both of them, had traveled with me because, you know, you can't drive after you have an abortion and whatnot. So we get a hotel down there and we spend the night, and I'm really nervous, you know, the night before I get the procedure done. I'm like, I really hate that I had to go through this, but, you know, I learned a big lesson. And I'm going to tell you, ladies, the lesson at the end. So the next day I go to the clinic, and I go ahead and, you know, get the procedure done, which was, I can't even explain the feeling. It went by so fast, but it was very, very painful. That's all I'm going to say, and that I can't remember. It was like a metal something went up me, and I just don't even like to describe it or even remember the feeling, but it went by like that. And they had me on anesthesia, whatever it is, where it's some type of medicine, and they just sucked it right on out. And, you know, I went to bleeding right immediately after, and the baby was, you know, out of me. And, you know, I remember having that procedure, and after I got it done, you know, my blood pressure went automatically up because I was scared, you know, all this type of stuff. But, you know, I just really wanted to get that procedure done because I really didn't want to, you know, have a child with this man, because he already have like other girls pregnant and like so many other baby mamas. I was just so disgusted, y'all. But you know, that's what you get for rushing into a situation that you have no business being in. You know what I'm saying? And that situation taught me so many lessons. Just like, make sure you get to know a guy before you just lay up with a guy, and, you know, take your time and know what he's got going on in his life before you just have sex and make big decisions out of things, you know. And just to really understand that it's very important to be careful with your body and just not to rush into things, because when you rush into something, it's kind of like you get a stupid prize. And I hate, you know, I do want to have kids in the future, don't get me wrong, but I want to have a good life, like a life that is marriage with kids, you know what I'm saying? Like a good, healthy foundation of Black love, like, you know, what I speak about in my other vlogs and all this other type of stuff, because, you know, I want to be the one that's, you know, married with a beautiful family that's healthy in the Black community, because I'm so tired of seeing broken families. And, you know, when I went to the abortion place, y'all, before I got my abortion, it was so many old people. It was like loud music playing, and people with the postcards, you know, yelling, you know, stop abortion, don't get this abortion. They handing people Bibles out, and they don't know what people are going through. And, you know, sometimes, you know, I understand a lot of people are against those type of things, but, you know, my grandmother is a Christian, and she knew how hurt I was from this situation, and she was just like, you know what? If you want to do that, go ahead and do that. But if you don't want to do that, don't do that. You know, I'm for either one. But, you know, it's what I wanted to choose and do with my life. I decided to, you know, kick the boot. You know what I'm saying? Many women can choose their baby dad. You know what I'm saying? If you're complaining about a baby dad, you know, it's kind of like on your fault. That's how I feel sometimes. Like, it's just like anyone can choose. And I made a choice. I made a clear choice. And he was just not it, you know. So I had to, like, correct that and just have an abortion. And which is crazy, is abortion is actually illegal now. The only way that you'll be able to have an abortion is if it's an emergency to where your life is at stake and all this other type of stuff, but you have to go out of state, you know, to go get that done. You can't go just to Texas, like Dallas or Houston no more, to just a normal clinic or something like that. Like, so much has changed, which, you know, I feel sorry for the girls that have to, you know, go through with a child because they have been raped. They are forced to have that child if their life is not at stake. You know, my heart just go out to those type of situations, and that's all I can say on that. And I also seen a post on Twitter like not too long ago. It was a post that was saying, you know, abortion baby dads are annoying. And I agree with this post. It is just funny because, you know, after my abortion and whatnot, you know, he still wanted to be friends, you know, keep up with me. And, you know, I was, you know, being friends with him cool because, you know, it's no bad blood. You know, I just did what I did. And, you know, I was cool with him and whatnot until, like, I just started deleting him off of Facebook and this other type of stuff because, you know, I don't have no bad blood with you, but it's just, you know, I don't want to, you know, have any more sex with you or nothing like that. I just feel like, you know, I did what I did. You know, I made a mistake, and, you know, I forgive myself about it, and I've been asking God for forgiveness as well. But, you know, I don't want to take it any further than that. So, you know, I like left it at that. But then, you know, on that post, you know, speaking on that post, it's also funny because somebody had commented and was just like, you want a baby dad so bad or something like that. And it was just like, why would someone say that? Like, you had, like, I don't know if that person had an abortion or not, but it's just like, it's not the fact that we wanted a baby dad. Like, if we wanted to, we could have had that baby dad as a baby dad, you know? But it's just like some people come in being rude, and it's just like, have you ever been put in those shoes to where you had to get an abortion because you was somewhere that you weren't supposed to be? Like, I understand if you had a child with someone you're obsessed about, and then all of a sudden you become a baby mother and he don't want nothing to do with the child because he never liked you in the first place, but you were so obsessed that you wanted to play marriage, play mom in your head, that you actually had a child with that man knowing he don't want no parts with it, is kind of even worse. And, you know, I'm not speaking on a lot of other women, but I have been in a situation like that, you know, dealing with a narc, an AKA narcissist, where they will have you so delusional and thinking otherwise, and they actually want no parts with you, and it is so sad. And that's how a lot of people and women are becoming baby mothers and nothing else. And I really hate to see that in the Black community, because we need to represent the Black community with love, you know, unity, coming together and really just having marriages and stable foundations of relationships. I really, like I said, hate to see broken families, you know, in the Black community, because we just need to do so much better. But I don't know if I can find that tweet and whatnot, but if I can find it, I'm just going to go ahead and post it and, you know, show y'all that or whatnot. But, you know, it really just came to my mind about that. But it was just so many lessons that I did learn from this situation. And, you know, even when you end up from a breakup, you know, a lot of people make mistakes, which I did, you know, make a huge mistake with like 3 guys. And like the 3rd guy, I actually ended up preggo from. And that was God really trying to teach me, you know, slow down. Having the child or an abortion or not, I had to slow it down. And that's exactly what I did too. Yeah, speaking on that tweet, I forgot to mention, but you know, it was also saying, you know, forget about that abortion. You know, you didn't have a kid. And it's just like, I don't think that person ever been in an abortion shoes, because this, you know, an abortion is something that you'll never forget. Well, that's for me, because it's always been at the back of my mind. That is something that I did with my life and that I had to do in my life so that I could have a better life in my perspective and image, you know. But it's always at the back of my mind. You know, I even wrote in my diary that I had at the time of, you know, getting ready to have this abortion and some of the memories. I haven't looked back in that diary in like a while and whatnot, but I also saved the photo picture of, you know, the baby that was actually in my stomach. But it is just always and forever will be a memory to me, because that was something, you know, very, very tragic that I had to do in my lifetime that I thought I would never, ever would do. And it just really just sticks with you. I don't know if any other ladies can relate, but yeah, it can, you know, it hits for me, because, you know, I do want to have kids sometime in the future, and, you know, that's just something that I'll never forget. And it's just a situation that I don't want to put myself in ever again, which, you know, this day and age, baby, you're going to have a child unless your life is at stake, you know. So it's really very, very important to make good decisions on the type of men that you choose to entertain, and, you know, give your time to, and just understand, you know, a lot of people, you know, care about, you know, marriage and a serious relationship, and most people just don't. And that's just what it is. But it's just a lot that I learned from that. And I hope you babes, you know, learn something from this vlog, or I don't know if you can relate and whatnot. But yeah, I really hope you babes enjoyed this vlog, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Mwah.